Well, that's not fixing the problem. You know?
Well, even massage therapy, you know, I love massage therapy, but, you know, in the, you know, using the example with the arm, you know, these are all joints here, just so you guys know. This allows the spine to twist, turn, and bend, and so you can, you know, move how you need to. These joints are similar to the joints in the elbow in that when you move the elbow, you're allowing your muscles, your biceps, your triceps, to stretch and tighten how they're intended to. Now, when one of these joints are locked up, or several of these joints are locked up, you know, when you have something like this going on, it's equivalent to your arm only being able to move maybe 15%. So if you can only move this far, you're going to have a very tight bicep and a very stretched tricep. And so you're going to have complications from that, and you're going to eventually have a sore bicep because it's not stretching how it's supposed to.
Right.
So you can go get a massage, which will feel good, and it's not bad for it by any stretch, but by getting that joint mobile again, now all of a sudden you're forcing the body to stretch and rehabilitate that bicep how it's supposed to. It's the same thing with those small muscles that attach to these vertebrae. They get locked up, they're very sensitive, they actually will get scarred up, they'll get scar tissue within them, and then it's just a domino effect. A lot of problems.
Well, yeah, you do the same thing with me. Remember, my arm was here. I don't even know this. Man, I got this point. This could like crunch. Like, I mean, it felt like I do a pull-up. It felt like the bone was just being shattered. I mean, like, okay, that really hurts. You know, I go with a 400-pound tire. You know, and I get down and just yank. So I'm like, what? And then you show me, well, this, then you extend all the way.
Right.
I didn't even look at that. And then we did the whatever that
muscle stripping, yeah.
Yeah, and just
because it's been like that for so long, you had scar tissue filled up in that muscle.
Right.
And so same thing with the spine. Sometimes I'll get it moving, but if the person isn't responding how I think they should, then I'll get in there on those deep muscles and work those out because they may have scar tissue that needs
And it made a difference. Now I can actually do dead hangs. I'm back to doing pull-ups. I mean, it's little things like that. You think, oh, I wrecked my shoulder, this or that. It wasn't. I had this separation up here, you know, but it was a little kinesio tape. Leave it alone for a little while, 30 days, and I had to rehab a little bit because it was bad for like a year and a half. Now it's 100%.
There are so many shoulders, knees, and elbows, and feet that I work on that people think that, oh, I thought I just had to live with it. Like, no, you know, because I'll be working on their spine and they'll say, yeah, I kind of got this thing going too. It's like, well, let me look at it.
Right.
I actually had a lady come in the other day. She could not believe how much improvement, kind of like with your case, she couldn't believe how much improvement I was able to get in her hip flexors, which one of your major hip flexors, your iliopsoas complex, comes through the spine, from the femur and attaches to the spine. It's a major problem that nobody really addresses, but she had been to a PT, physical therapist, for a long time, and she just thought that, you know, this is something that she's gonna have to deal with, always having pain when she walks. And so after just a couple treatments, she's 50% better, and she cannot believe it.
I used to deal with people on the treadmill. Is a big psoas problem. You get on the treadmill, it's all recovery from a fall. They're running, they're picking up. So that, again, that's up here, so you're lifting, passes to the spine, starts to pull you down, you're trying to stand up straight, all of a sudden you're getting a low back pain. And all they have to do, like you said, you have to release the psoas. So I teach them how to do a release, you know, a psoas release, you know, and just, it's simple. Simple inhibition, you turn on the glute hamstring, do the movement, it starts to relax, and they get instant relief.
Yeah, and that's, iliopsoas is a huge one. I tell people that's the most important stretch you can do. The front of the body, and you probably say the same thing. Stretch the front of the body.
Yeah, because we're all here.
We're here.
All the time. With their legs are up, people are just sitting, and then they get on a treadmill, and they walk over, and again, when I talk about the treadmill, you recover from a fall. You got a belt moving. If you stop walking, you're down. That's it. You're on your face. So you got to pick up, so you don't push off. So it's imbalanced. You know, your hamstrings don't get kicked down, your glute doesn't. You know, you're not pushing off. People get shin splints from that as well, from the tibialis anterior in the front, because they're not pushing off. They're picking up and keeping their foot like this the whole time. You know, and they don't realize that they're chronic treadmill people, which we're not a fan of. We like every video, we got to be sure to tell people stay off the treadmill. You know, but they do that for that forever cardio. You know, they get on there thinking they're doing something real good for themselves and but it's just it is that kind of stuff. You know, and you point that out for me, you get a release, like you said, you get like instant relief from that stuff. And they're going to the doctor and they're doing the same thing here. Take the super anti-inflammatory. You did my knee. I'm just a broken down dude. But when you work on my knee, you know, it's tight, and it was again from my pelvis being out, so it was kind of chronic. You know, so then I'm like,
worked out.
Yeah, this thing's, I'm like, man, it's just got tight all of a sudden. Like, I didn't do anything special. All of a sudden, my knee is tight. Nothing had buried in the work, but then as we adjusted the pelvis, you know, then that was able to manifest itself, and then we got to work that out.
Mhm.
You know, right? I mean, that's probably common, I would imagine.
It's not uncommon, I'll put it
Yeah,
that way.
you know, just seeing kind of the chain, you know, what's getting worked on.
Mhm.
You know, so that's one of those things that you know, and you see it when you watch people train, we'll do an assessment and stuff like that, you know, like, you talk about alignment, and you'll just have them do a lunge, and the leg is out over here, there they do a squat, and one foot goes this way, and there's a lot of that kind of stuff that can be corrected through chiropractic, and then just being aware.
Yeah,
You know,
and that's what I like about what you're doing, is you're very thorough. You don't just go at it, I mean, you're very thorough with all of the people that come in, yeah.
Yeah, and I just think it's important because they just don't know. It's like nutrition.
Yeah, it's good to know their imbalances before you start a protocol, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
you know, so they need to understand, they go, oh, I never noticed it.
Yeah.
You didn't notice you stand with your feet up,
Yeah.
you know, it's stuff like that, you know,
Yeah.
so it's really, then you get into orthotics and things like that too, you know, that make a whole thing, you know, just the alignment of the body.
I'll tell people too, when you're laying in bed and your feet should be like this, but if one foot's going out like that, yeah, knee, that's affecting your knee, your hips, everything, and that's probably a cause from the hips or the knees.
Yeah, really, you just start looking at it, I watch people's gait, you know, they'll walk. Like I said, I'll just have walk, and you just watch that one foot's out here, or the run, same thing, you start to watch what they're doing, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, and the biggest reason is actually this sacroiliac joint right here. When the one side closes down like this sacroiliac joint allows your hips to do one of these, lets you walk, but when it's closed up, it causes that foot to flare. And so, yeah, that's a big area that I work on in people, you included. I just open up that side joint, make sure to keep that mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good, because I was telling Dr. Micka, the other day, you know, I get to where he's been working on the hip and everything else, and I was going from, I don't know, I always park in the way back outside of the parking lot, you know, I'm going to like Walmart or something or whatever, so, and I'm cruising in, I'm like, and I'm walking, like, I almost like started running just because I felt like running. And that's unusual.
You're not weird at all.
I used to run a long time, a lot, but I'm not into running anymore really. You know, I row, I do other stuff like that, but like, it's like I didn't want to do it now every day I'm like, now I'm just I want to run. You know, I come out with a cart even, I'm like, I run with the cart. You know, so it's just different, you actually, whatever it was, it's just, I think when the body's working properly, you know, whatever, that's just like giving me a clue, like, hey, you can do this now.
It's really not that much different than a car being misaligned. You know, if the alignment is off, it's going to affect the entire car. You know, it isn't going to affect just one tire or one side. It affects the whole alignment. It affects the whole thing. And so it's the same thing with the body. In your case, if I could just briefly go over what you have going on, it's that presentation that I showed you at the beginning. This iliac crest here, the sacroiliac joint gets locked up here, and you get that twisting right here. You don't have that near as much. Now when you come into the clinic, it's just a little bit because we've established that muscle memory, and now the body's maintaining this. But before, this left hip was up to your ear, and which locks up this L5 joint, which is why you hear the popping noise that's, you know, familiar with chiropractic. But you don't have to have the pop, but in your case we did. So you get that locked up L5, you free that up, and then I have you lay on the other side and I free up that SI joint, and or get on this side of the sacrum and adjust it that way. With you, I can get you, you know, I can be a little bit more aggressive with your care. But a lot of people, I'll just use what's called an activator. You know, not everybody knows what that is. But yeah, that works. That's very effective too. Actually, I get pretty pumped up about this stuff. But I had a patient just yesterday that came in and he can barely grip. He's in a couple months. He's actually due for surgery. And it's because the nerves in his neck aren't functioning properly, so he is not able to, he can't even when I first saw him yesterday, he couldn't even make a fist. His fingers could barely touch right here, And so I had him grab my finger and squeeze it, and there was just nothing. He couldn't even barely touch it. And just by using that activator and freeing up the nerves in the front of the neck where they come down through the scalenes, and then also up into the neck, just using that activator, had him before and after, he was at 50% more grip. He couldn't believe it. And yeah, it's just an awesome tool. And that's what I use on babies too.
But what do you think about now he just did that. So and the activator is this, it looks like
I should have brought
it. Yeah, it's this little thing, and it goes click, click, I don't know what you call it. It looks like a metal hypodermic needle or something, you know, it doesn't have the needle, it's got a little nub on the end or whatever, and you kind of do that, and it's just like totally painless.
It's very gentle,
but what did he think when all of a sudden he gets 50% more movement with one adjustment? Is he thinking like, do I have to have surgery?
That's what I asked him. I said, because that's the thing I always tell people, the body is just wonderfully made, and it's fearfully and wonderfully made. It's an amazing machine. And so I always tell people, I don't know what your 100% is.
Right.
Because when you were 23, your 100% was way up here, but now it may be right here, and you're right on 30 or 40%. Right. So only time will tell what your 100% is. So when a person plateaus where I feel like they're at their 90 to 100%, I back off treatments, because in his case, I said, just in one treatment we're able to get quite a bit. Let's get you back here Monday to see if we can get some more improvement. And once he plateaus, once we determine we can't get any more strength back, then I'll ask him. I'll say, well, it's up to you if you feel like you still need surgery. If he feels like he can still, because he's not in pain. It's just he has no grip, so he can't do his.
Well, I would think. I mean, I'm always my belief's always been, and this has just been an innate kind of thing that I've had, but the last thing you want to do is go under the knife.
Yeah.
The absolute last.
And the last thing should be pharmaceutical drugs too.
Right, exactly.
Should be a last resort.
So that should be you have to exhaust all the natural remedies and getting different opinions and going to different people, because it doesn't mean the first guy you go to is going to fix you. But if there's improvement, even a little bit, that's a good sign. You just might not be at the guy. We're all trainers. We got great trainers. We got really, really crappy trainers. Yeah. There's guys who are just awful. They hurt people they don't know. They're bad from personality on to experience. Yeah. Everything is bad, So it's worth getting to a few other people if you're not getting the exact result, but really exhaust those options first. Because people are really quick to go under the knife.
I agree. And with any practitioner, really with anything that you can, go by referrals, because the chiropractic office, it either lives and dies by referrals. If you're not doing your job, if you're not doing a good job, then you won't get referrals, and you go out of business. Same with personal training, I would imagine too.
Yeah, it's all referral. That's what it is, because we're helping people.
Right, and if you're in it for people, you will get referrals.
Right, and that's what we do. We want to get people results. We want to help them the fastest way we can. Again, we're the same thing. We don't want to. Well, it's going to take you about a year and a half to lose 10 pounds. I mean, we're not doing that kind of stuff. But you want to get them quickly, but also we're dealing with the world of reality too. Sometimes you don't get fixed. Like I tell people, hey, you may go like the chiropractor and you feel fantastic after one visit, or you might have to go 9 times.
You're
right. Start feeling good. I mean, I don't know. You can't ask me because I certainly don't know. But you get in there until a set of educated hands gets on you and starts moving, then they can determine what's going on. So I mean, I just think again, I want to help people to kind of dispel their concerns from chiropractic.
Let me address something. Something just came to mind. One of the most common concerns that I hear is, somebody will be feeling good, they can move better after the adjustment, and sometimes somebody will say to me, well, I always heard that, popping your knuckles was bad for you, that it'll cause arthritis. Biggest myth ever. And that's been dispelled so many times in the research. Let me explain what that popping noise that you're hearing is. All that happens is, so if you have the joint space going from here to here, you have that vacuum and you get that capsule release. You get that's basically all it is. And so, can you have a bad pop? Absolutely. So with my hand, I can pop this knuckle right here because I know with my posture, my shoulders round a little bit forward, so it causes my elbows to go a little bit forward. And so perfect anatomical position when I'm standing is having the thumbs like this, but mine will round in a little bit, which affects all the way down to the carpals, all the way down into that knuckle here. So, long story short, what happens is I get rotation in this bone here and in this bone here. It causes compression, so I can pop it and you get that release. Now, this finger is actually a little bit more mobile than what it was before. Now, if I went to the other side of it where it was already opened up and I tried to open it further, then I could push on it until I got a pop or some kind of release, but it won't feel too good, and I probably damaged something in there. I'd have to push pretty dang hard, and it would be very uncomfortable in the process. But so basically, what I'm trying to say is, if you have a proper adjustment to a segment that's hypomobile, that's not moving how it should. So in other words, your L5 locked up right here. I don't want to adjust the other side that's already opened up. I want to adjust the side that's closed up. So you get that moving again, and now all of a sudden you have freedom. You release over that nerve there. You have just less tension and pressure on the spine. So that's basically what the popping noise is.
Yeah, that's good to know. Cause a lot of people there's a lot of weird health myths.
And it does not cause arthritis.
Right.
No. What causes arthritis is that immobility. Right. And so that's what a really interesting study that they found. It was a year-long study with two groups of people. One group, they x-rayed both groups, and one group of people never popped their fingers. The other group did. Over a year's time, they found that there was actually a healthier joint space in the people that popped their knuckles than the people that didn't. So you could actually say if you don't get that release in your joints, then that can cause arthritis because you're not moving. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Right.
So it's easy to understand, like with the elbow example, if I'm only moving this elbow this much and I'm afraid to get that release and get it that full mobility, then that elbow's going to break down quicker because you don't use it, you lose it. It's going to break down quicker.
And that's really good. I think that also crosses over. That's why we train the way we do. We're using the whole body the way it needs to go. Full range of motion. Stuff like that. We're not short things. So a lot of people when they're working out, they're not doing just that. They got a set of dumbbells next to me because they're way too heavy and they're going like this and they think they're getting a workout and everything. And it's really interesting, to see, the different applications and what people do. And then you watch those same people and you really see them deteriorate before your very eyes. They don't even get it. They're just doing that stuff. And you try to tell them, you need to come over. Just, because when they can, because for a lot of guys, it's half the weight.
Right.
And they got that whole thing. They got to, be huge and all this stuff. So it's pretty interesting. But man, just great stuff. This is really, really good stuff. So I think we'll wrap it up here. But our next time I'm going to have you back. We're going to talk about nutrition.
Okay.
We'll do another whole segment on that because we love nutrition. It's our favorite thing. But this has been awesome. This has been Dr. Micah from Chiropractic. He's out of Rockford, Illinois. Just an awesome place. Just an awesome place. They've really done a lot for me. So check them out if you're seeing this. We'll have links and stuff on the site for you, so you can do all that. And tune in next week. We'll get into the nutrition aspect.